Welcome to the Elite Mind Athlete Mental Performance Podcast, hosted by Coach Jay Mercado, founder of Elite Mind Athlete. We're on a mission to transform your high school athlete into an unstoppable titan, far beyond the confines of the game, preparing them to dominate in any arena. Get ready to dive deep into the minds of elite coaches, former college athletes, and leading experts as we uncover the secrets to mental toughness, resilience, and peak performance. Today's podcast is sponsored by Elite Mind Athlete, the ultimate online mental performance program for high school athletes. Now let's get into the arena with Coach Jay.
What's up, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Elite Mind Athlete Mental Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Jay, and I'm on a mission to help as many high school athletes become physically, mentally, and emotionally more resilient, not just in their sport, but to be able to transfer that into life at the next level. And today, helping me do that is Rene Lawson. He is a ex-D1 collegiate athlete in football. He is currently semi-pro football player right now, and is a middle school football coach. My man, Rene Lawson, I appreciate you being on. Thank you for being here.
Hey, my pleasure, man. My pleasure. Anything for my brother, man. Anything for those
Absolutely.
kids out there.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to work with Rene, and I got to hear his story about his D1 experience, and I think it's a great lesson for the entire high school ecosystem, parents, coaches, to start developing character. I think today's podcast is going to be about mental performance, character, and the lessons that you learned along your way that you hope to transpire into this next generation of how important it is that your small decisions can impact your life dramatically. And today we're going to be able to hear that story from Rene Lawson. So, man, before we get there, I just kind of always love to give people the perspective of how someone grew up, because culture, I believe, kind of gives the DNA of where you're trying to achieve. And so, growing up, Rene, did you grow up playing all the sports? And what was like the parent aspect and their involvement with you in sports? Were they, structured? You're going to play all the sports? Were they always practicing with you? Tell me about your you growing up.
Oh yeah, man. Me growing up, I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, which was an area not fond of kids growing up to play sports or have ambition to go to college. So it wasn't a likely path for me to play sports. But my mom put me around a sort of kind of good area in New Orleans and put me in sports, and that became my structure. I mean, she supported every chance she got, even though she still didn't know football. Like even when I got to high school, college, she came to football games, still knew nothing about the game. I'm like, how do you watch it this long
Yeah.
and not know anything? She's still asking people in the stands and stuff, but yeah, she was very supportive of me playing that, um, and she was more eager about getting me around um, uh, the
Mentors.
right mentors. Yeah, the
Yeah.
guys around me to build me, because I feel like you pull from each, not just one person, but you pull from different guys and mentors, um, things of who you become. Like, so I feel like I have a part of them. All of my mentors that have taught me something, I've become. They become a part of me. So, and I think that's one of the gifts that comes from playing sports. Like, you inherit discipline along with the mentors, the guys who's leading you. You don't know where you're going, but you just have to trust what
Yeah.
what they're saying.
So did you only play football, or did you
Oh, I
play
played.
basketball, track?
I
What?
Man, I played football. I did track, powerlifting. Um, what else did I do? I did. I think that was probably about it. But I was always an athlete. I'm a niche for the ball. Like like
Yeah.
basketball. I'm not a basketball player, but I can play some defense because I like to chase the ball. So I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
an athlete, man, and it made me an all around athlete.
I got you, my man. So, in high school, tell me your frame. Were you built for football?
Yeah, I was 240 in high school. Like I was 240 pounds, 6'2". I
Oh,
mean, yeah. So I was number two coming out of high school. like the number
Yeah.
two in my position. No, I was second. Yeah, second in Texas, coming out of my position. Um,
What
and
position?
I played DN, defensive end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in high school, I pretty much played the whole defensive line, but I played DN for the most part, kind of like an outside linebacker, rush edger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
in high school, did you ever were in super intentional or was there a culture around you for like grades? Because I know, you got to have the good grades to be able to open up those doors for scholarships and stuff like that. Was that a hindrance with you getting scholarships?
grades, yes, that's a hindrance for you getting scholarship. That's what make them look at you. I mean, and I had the experience. I only needed one experience to know that I never wanted to fail again. You know what I mean? I think it was middle school, probably like when I first got out to Texas. Once I got to middle school, I think I failed one report card and I couldn't play a game. Oh, that hurt so bad. That was the worst feeling ever. And I ain't never fell after that again. Like that
Yeah.
no pass, no play is no play. Like that's no games, man. And that's one thing that gave me discipline with my grades. Like man, you know what? If I really want to play this, like I got to get the grades. You
Man,
know?
I'm so happy you said that because there's a lot of helicopter parents. They may not think they're helicopter parents, but they'll literally force their kids to make good grades. Like they're going to do everything possible to put them in a situation to make good grades, which is a great thing. But that is being a soldier. When you tell somebody to do something day in and day out, that's being a soldier because what's going to happen is when they go off to college or go off on their own, they don't have that structure no more and they never learn to feel that pain of failure. I think the pain of failure, letting your kid fail and then having the consequence of, yeah, you don't get to play, that builds inner self-discipline to, you know what? I'm not going to let myself fail again versus my parents are kind of handicapping me to not let me touch that because they want their kid to play,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So I think it was
yeah,
very important that you learned that lesson in middle school, no
yeah.
pass, no play.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important, man. Like it's understanding like what you have to do to play this game. Like it's not just playing it. Like yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's all it's yeah, it got the lights. It can give you a scholarship and all that, but you have to have the other things, the other components. So
Yeah.
take that into importance too.
All right, man. Talk to me about you getting all the scholarships. What kind of scholarship were you receiving?
From high school, I got a football scholarship. And it was out to Minnesota. And that was like beyond me. I never thought that I would want to move out there, but I was so gun ho on how independent I was and to show my parents that, oh, hey, I could do this. Like they didn't think that my mom definitely didn't want me to go, but I wanted to go, just to prove myself and just to branch myself out and get to independent. Like, you know, I didn't grow up with. I mean, my dad was around, but he wasn't around. So I really had my uncle, um, and that was like he was my focal point. And plus, I wanted to let my mom not have to worry about college. So they're the only person giving a full ride scholarship. I'm like, that's where I'm going. Like,
Yeah.
you
That was
know,
gonna be my next question. What was that deep burn? So you growing up, what kind of structure in the household was there? Was it like mom was always saying you need to go practice, or what was it like?
it was more of my uncle telling me I need to go practice. Like he was more of my pusher, like as far as football. He loved football and he had this experience with football. So he kind of like um steered me from the things where he went wrong. He would try to steer me away from that kind of stuff. Like you don't want to have kids before you have, you know what I mean, before you graduate college or before you graduate high school and just making sure I'm not making those stupid mistakes, which is why I'm 30 right now. I don't have any kids. I just got married, about to move into my house. I just moved into my house. It's
Yeah.
like those kind of things is it's like those kind of things was needed and I fall back on when I think about it because having a mentor is really important because a lot of my friends didn't have that and they learn through life experience. But when you can take somebody's experience, it's either you gonna take that person's experience, take them for what they say, or you can go experience yourself. They had experiences that my uncle gave me. I mean, they had things that my uncle had experienced, and he told me, like, hey, you might not want to do this, like, because this is all it's gonna lead to. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you know what, I'm gonna take your word for it. But if some things he told me about the same way, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna experience this shit. I need to see.
man.
I mean, so I mean, sorry to curse. I don't know if we curse on it, but
No,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. No,
yeah,
bro. Be comfortable, do what you need to do. But it reminds me of a quote, and I might butcher it. And it goes something like this: a dumb man will make mistakes and not learn from it. A smart man will make mistakes and learn from it. A wise man will learn from the mistakes of others, right? And if we could
exactly.
program that into them now, being wise, learning from mentors, and not making those mistakes early on could eventually structure you into the path of success further along. Because the last four interviews that I had, or three interviews that I've had, they all went to college and got all unfocused with women,
Hmm.
had babies early on, lost
Hmm.
track of what their purpose was going to be doing, right? Because maybe they did not have that culture or that person telling them, hey, this is what you probably should not be doing because of X, Y, and Z, right? So those mentors, especially outside your household, right? There's a study that says you are less likely to listen to your parents and more likely to listen to your friends' parents than your actual parents.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so those mentors, as you know, it's huge, right? Let's get those mentors put into place, kind of, help them build that mindset and that culture early on. All right, man. So tell me, you go off to college, and what was your experience? What did you struggle with?
Um, well, when I first went out to college, I went out to Minnesota. I mean, it was more of a structured setting for me. I mean, it was your freedom for one, as far as um, being able being away from my parents and actually making decisions on myself. Um, and but I also had structure within football. Like I'll have workouts, I'll have set study hall times, I'll have set eating times with the guys. So it was more structured for me, and then when I had my free time and independent time, it was like fun time for me. I was able to, it was already like structured in one. So that was something that I appreciated and, was, you know, it's like it really helped me out when I first got to college. And then I ended up transferring, and when I ended up transferring, the school that I was at first was more of a smaller school. Like it was a D2, and it was I say about no more than like 1,000 to 2,000 kids on campus,
How long
and
did
it
you
was
stay there?
I stayed there for like 3 years.
3 years. Well, let's talk about that. Those 3 years of you playing, you played there, right?
Yeah, I
Okay,
started.
3 years of you playing there. What was the competition like? Were you like off the gate starting, you're the head dude, or did you have to work for it? What was the environment like compared to high school?
So when I first got there, I thought that like this D2, I know I was supposed to go D1, and I'm like, man, these dudes ain't can't mess with me. I'm like, man, you know what? I ain't worried about these dudes. Like they bringing me on. I know I'm about to start, and I'm number two in this in the state. Like I ain't worried about, and that's how I felt. I felt like they should give me that prestige and but to my rude awakening, it was a seniority um based thing, like people who've been there for a longer, I mean kids, players who've been there for a longer time, older players, that's already adjusted to college and been waiting their turn
Yeah.
there, and that was in front of me. So that was the learning curve. I'm like, I know I'm better than this guy. Why they not letting me play over him? Like, and that kind of stuff I had to deal with and conflicted in my head. Am I better than him? Like what are they thinking? Like, and that kind of stuff was going through my head. And it started to frustrate me. Like I had a coach that, to treat me like I was, dumb or like I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, dude, I can literally blow past these dudes and know with no problem. Like,
Yeah.
and so I felt it was kind of like it was a frustrating curve for me. I mean, to deal with, not being um, uh,
The
so
guy.
yeah, being that guy, and I was used to being that guy, so never wanted to get second. Never, second is not in my vocabulary. I want to win.
Yeah. So what'd you
So
learn from that experience though? How did you overcome it? What'd you learn?
I learned to just be patient sometime, and I'm a big believer in faith. Like, everything happens for a reason, and I just have to, if I have the right intentions, the world's gonna give me what I want. I mean, what I need, not what I want or what I
Yeah.
need. If I have the right intentions behind it, because I realize that intention and you know um and work ethic goes one in one. Like, where other people may not see it, God sees it, and it's gonna bring it around to you. Like, if it, once that time comes. So I always, was intentional about what I did. I just slowed down and said, you know what? Yeah, they might be in front right now, but eventually I'm gonna get my shot, and eventually I'm gonna be, in the upper class too, and they're gonna have to respect my seniority too. And whenever I get my shot, and I always just got into the mode of whenever I get my shot, I'm gonna show them, and that's the way I've been every time, since then. Like, they didn't play me a whole game one time, and I had this coach that I had an issue with there, and he just came from the NFL, and he wasn't seeing me as a player that I know I was, and he would kind of like talk to me in a way that made me feel like he was belittling me. And by long story short, by the end of the season, I kind of won him over. But during that process, him not playing me in the way that he was reacting to me really frustrated me, and I would talk to the head coach about it and tell him like what's going on. I'm like, why am I not playing? I got the highest I have the highest scholarship here. Like, and I was confused on why he wasn't playing me. And um, but long story short, I complained about it and I was upset about it and didn't understand it. But eventually, by the end of the season, he had throughout the season he would put me in sporadically, but every time he put me in, I made a play. I made sure I made the play that he put me in on, just to show him, and all the players started to see it too. It's to the point where they was like, you know what, dang, why is he not playing you more,
Yeah.
and that's why I say, like, the work ethic, and then you taking your shot every time you get your chance, it shows off. Because I didn't have to tell him like, hey dude, I'm better than these guys. It's just like, when I get in here, I'm gonna go and make a play just to show you that I'm really you know what I mean? I'm really who I say I am. Like, and the players start to see that, like, oh, he put Rene in. Like, the exact play you put me in, I make that play. Like, so
Man,
it's finding that tenacity and finding your way and finding just executing, like, when you get a chance.
I think that's a very important lesson learned because a lot of high recruited athletes are going to go in with that mindset of I'm that guy, right?
Hmm.
And when they get into the next level, they're going to get punched in the face of, no, you're not that guy. There's everyone here is that guy. Everyone here is number one, number two. Everyone here had to work their way up. You're not special, right?
Hmm.
And they fall into that victim mentality of, oh, coach don't like me. Oh, he's just, I'm better than him. I don't know what coach can't see. That's like victim mentality. But the lesson learned here is nothing is given to you. When you make it to the next level, you're back at zero, buddy.
Yeah, yeah,
You're back
yeah.
at zero. You got to earn every minute, every rep, right? That guy that you may be better than him. But you know what? He earned his way into that position. He fought his 2 reps, then he got
Right.
4 reps, then he got 8 reps. And that takes a different type of mindset because that's builds character at this point. And a lot of athletes, man, they'll go transfer and transfer and transfer. And you know what? They lose their shot because they never fucking dug in and stayed consistent and aggressive with that intensity like you did,
Hmm.
right? Instead of
Yeah.
saying, you know what, man, bump coach, forget him. I'm not going to work for him. That's what you would hear. And then you'll have all your little crew members next to you like, yeah, bump coach. You don't know what he's talking about. You're way better. And that's going to put them in a position where their ego gets too inflated and now you're not even playing no more. Or you're not playing good because you're not coming in it all in no more,
Yeah, with the right
right?
intention. Yeah.
With the
And
intensity that you said. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons of any high recruited athlete is, bro, drop your ego. You're starting back at ground zero and you got to
Yeah,
work your way all the way up. And that's part of the game, bro. If it was given to you, what is that building?
right. Nothing.
It ain't building nothing because the next level, you're gonna get kicked in the face because you know it built it. It's gonna be false. You're gonna taste it, and it's gonna be stripped right from you. That's even worse.
Yeah.
What's worse than Renee winning the lottery and then having it ripped from you the next day, or not winning the lottery?
No, winning the lottery, have it ripped for you next day.
Bro, you
And I,
tasted it and it's gone.
yeah,
Back in the streets.
trust me, I didn't have those experiences, man. And
You had that
those,
experience. We're gonna about to get into it. All right, so
and
you spent 3 years. What's up?
one thing I do want to comment on, before you move on, one thing that I do regret, I mean, not regret, but learned a lesson from, I told you I complained about the coach after I had, after he, would tell me certain things and make me feel belittled, and he just wouldn't give me the respect that I thought that I deserved. And I complained about him, and you know, and hey, don't eat that. I'm sorry, my dog over here eating stuff.
No, you're good.
Yeah, but and I complained about it to coach till till the end of the season, and by the end of the season, head coach was fed up and he was ready to let the dude go because he didn't understand why wasn't playing me because I was doing so well when I got out there. But by the end of the game, I mean by the end of the season, he wasn't starting me. But they had one particular game. We only won. Now this team wasn't that good. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
We only won 2 games out of the whole season. I mean, in that whole season, and one of those 2 games was the end of the season. And being that he didn't put me in this whole, like, he didn't put me in a lot like throughout the season, but I told you every time I got in, I made it play. The last game of the season, he didn't put me into the fourth quarter, and I ended up and I think it was one drive on the fourth quarter. I ended up getting 2 sacks. One the last sack being a sack fumble to set us up for a game winner to win the game, and that kind of got his respect. And after that game, he won. He brought me to his office for a coach evaluation. I mean, for player evaluation, and it's telling me how much he's gonna move me here, move me there, let me do this, all of this next year. But he didn't know that by that time the head coach is already fed up and ready to get rid of him. And I was like, what? This dude the whole turn around and now he's about to leave because I couldn't just be patient. Let him say whatever he wanted to say and just prove myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just prove myself and let him, think what he want to think. Of course he's gonna have his assumptions, but until I prove myself, I gotta earn that. I gotta earn
Yeah.
that. And that's one thing where athletes gotta know. You have to earn that. You don't just get respect coming in college. Like you gotta
Yeah.
earn that. Earn that from them coaches. Like you starting at ground zero, like you said. So that's one thing I had to
Everyone else.
learn. And I learned it. I'm like, dang it, I wish he didn't leave because that'd be perfect for me. I could have been doing everything I wanted to do if I just was just chilled out,
Yeah,
man.
stay focused, man. Over the next 2 years, because you said you played a total of 3 years for them, what do the next 2 years look like for you
Um,
playing?
so the next 2 years, I moved, and miraculously, man, I ended up getting this rare disease. Um, I wanted to transfer because, well, let me start. Let me start from ground one. I wanted to transfer, and can you plug it up over there? I wanted to transfer, and I wanted to get into a more higher college, like a D1, because I felt as though I was a D1 player. And so I started looking. I started searching for a better college and somewhere where I felt like, I was supposed to be. And the reason being because the new coaches that were there at my current college, I was a D tackle. Now, if you know anything about a defensive tackle, they usually like 300 some pounds and big guys. And I was a big guy, but I was more of an outside linebacker. I was more of a guy who ran. I'm not about to go against 320 pound guys, and like one of them okay, but two, then three of them, like, dude, it's not logical. It's not
Yeah.
about to go against these guys. So, I told him at one point, like second game of the season, I'm like, dude, this is not my position. Because I know my body. And I told him, I said, if I continue playing this position, I know I'm gonna eventually get hurt because
Yeah.
like I played it one time and by halftime my whole body was cramping. I'm like, dealing with these big dudes all game is just not logical. Move me around. And they had no understanding because I was the strongest person on the team, so I could hold those guys up.
Mm.
But they understand it was breaking my body down too. And I knew my body. But long story short, I told them that I would get injured, like playing that position. And they were like, they were going to take my scholarship.
Mm.
And if I didn't play that position, because that's where they needed me at. And so I sucked up my pride and I was like, all right, I'm about to play here. And I ended up playing that exact next game. I ended up getting injured for the rest of the season. I tore my elbow. You ever heard of Tommy John?
Yeah.
The tennis elbow that
Yeah.
I tore out my elbow. I was on a play. I tackled a guy, and in the midst of me tackling, one of my safeties came down, and my arm was kind of like free off of him. So I'm tackling with this arm. So he came down and he kind of like tackled him too into my arm with his eyes closed. So my elbow was like stopped by the player who I'm tackling, and then my safety's coming down, pushing, like tackling with my elbow, and it's basically overextending my elbow. And
Ah.
so I ended up getting hurt and out for the rest of the season. I was so angry because I never had a season ending injury. And the one that I did, that was the one I predicted. And I'm like,
Spoke that into existence, brother.
yeah, man. And that's when I realized that another thing that these players need to realize that this game, college sports is not just sports; it's a business too. And when you have to make business decisions, make sure you're paying attention because those coaches are gonna do whatever is in the best of their interest to win. You got to know what's in your best interest as far as your business and where you're trying to take that at. Like, and if it's not in your best interest and you're not aligning, you got to know how to when to make a business decision. So yeah, I love the
That's
team, our first
smart.
team I went to, and yeah, they gave me a scholarship and all of this. But at the end of the day, they didn't care about my health. They care about more about winning than
Yeah.
they did about my health. So it's a
And we
business
can't blame
decision.
them though,
Yeah, you
because if
can't.
they don't win, they don't have a job,
Exactly. Yeah,
bro.
and that's why you can't take it personal. That's
Yeah.
another thing. You cannot take it personal. Like this game, like if you don't play, you got to put in the work that you got to show them something. Like, and you can't blame them for putting another guy in over you because he's performing better.
Yeah.
Like regardless of your seniority or anything like that. But when I transferred to Tech, it was you said how was the experience there?
Yeah. What was the difference between tech and your last school?
Tech in Minnesota. Oh my God. The first school was such smaller. It was like a smaller campus. It's easy to adjust to. Like I told you, it was more structured. I knew when I was having breakfast, I knew where breakfast was. They didn't have too many lunch halls. They didn't have too many places to eat. So I knew where I was going to go eat at and everything. But when I went to Tech, that was a D1 campus. It was huge and it had way more people and it had way more people I knew there, um, and I didn't have anybody that I was close to like bounce ideas off or like get understanding of how this place worked or things like that. And then I walked on that Tech, and for walk-ons, it's much harder because there's no structure in that. Like you're not there for football. You're there for potential football. So they're
Okay.
not structuring you in like they're
Like they're guys.
scholarship players.
Yeah.
So you gotta get in where you fit in. And me adjusting to the big campus, me adjusting to the girls and partying and all of
Tech's a
that stuff.
party school. It's known for partying.
Yes, yes. And just trying to maneuver around that and it was a lot of adjusting to do because of course you want to have some good time, but it's at what expense? and I didn't see it at that time. Like I didn't see what am I doing at this expense? What's gonna always be here, you know? And partying, having fun, that's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better. Like it's still gonna continue to get better. It's gonna continue to evolve and it's always gonna be there. But the time and the present time that you're in, like, pursuing football, give it all you got, and say no to the things that are not pertaining to it, if you're trying to reach a goal. Like,
Yeah.
so it got kind of foggy once I first got there. Like, I ain't gonna lie, because it was new. It was new. Like, I haven't been back down south. The party was different. I was free. I had my own
Yeah.
apartment. Like that it was a different experience, man. And there's a lot of adjusting I had to do.
So you walked on Texas Tech, and so you're practicing with the squad, right?
Uh-huh.
How far did you get and what happened?
I got so I tried out. I tried out for the team, made the team. Then I got all the way I got invited to both spring games, and then I got all the way on the roster. I made the team. Not I didn't know from first. I didn't know not one coach on that squad before I tried out. I got it off of pure talent, like me going out there and
Yeah.
working. And after I got it, I made the team, and uh, I got to the second game, and the weight of life just was bearing at that time. I had my mom had two jobs, struggling from with two jobs. I had my girlfriend at the time was struggling from some sickness. She had like cancerous that she had to get surgery on, and she was in a whole different country at the time. And I was just dealing with, trying to adjust to whole new life with no actual close friend around to talk with in person, and or to a companion or anything like that. And I was, I got caught up in that, and one day I ended up staying up late arguing with my girlfriend, and I ended up, I think I was 5 minutes late for one workout, man, and I got a text saying that I was off the team, and I was so upset. But thing about it, I started on everything, dude. I was like, I got dudes in the NFL right now that could tell you I used to go go crazy on them. And that shook me because I'm like, how could they drive me? And they see what kind of potential player I am. And you know, and I realized that some they look at you, some is just not worth the risk. Like and I felt as though I was, but they see a lot of players that come through like that. And though you got a lot of potential, you know, they gotta do what's best in their interest. So
I don't think athletes realize there's 5,000 Renees that want that position.
hmm
There's
yeah,
y'all are like an employee number. You're indispensable, brother.
yeah,
One guy's itching just to get your spot,
yeah,
itching. And so why deal with somebody who's just going to show up 5 minutes late, right? Why
yeah,
deal with somebody who's always going to complain? Why deal with somebody, regardless of their talent? There's thousands of talented athletes.
yeah.
One of them is bound to take it more seriously than the next. And once again, it's a business. It's a high-end business. If
That
you
you can't
can't
take
show up,
personal.
bro, if you can't show up on time, it's real life. You're gonna
Yeah,
get fired. It's
yeah,
real life. And that's high level stuff, right? That in a normal job, you can maybe go get a write-up here or there. But when you're an executive or you're an entrepreneur or you're high end, one misplay, one miss show up could end everything for you.
hmm
And
yeah,
that's exactly what happened to you. And regardless of your talent, you could play, you had the talent to go play pro.
hmm
But there's this quote we talked about by Inky Johnson is your talent will only take you as far as your character will allow you to. Meaning
hmm
you had the talent to go up there, but your character wasn't at the place. It was unfocused,
yeah,
right? It
yeah,
was, I'm better than these guys. Even if I was 5 minutes late, why are you taking me out? Right?
hmm
But we don't
yeah,
realize is One man out is another man in that's going to be more disciplined, have that character, and at the end of the day, it's less stress for the coach because they're trying to win, and if they don't win, even at the D1 level, if they don't win, they're out. They're gone as coaches.
Yep.
That door is open, just like players, just like you. Their door is open, bro. There's a
Yep.
coach waiting, itching, getting their turn. And a lot of players don't realize they're with that victim mentality is, why me?
Mm-hmm. Thing, man. You just you gotta pay attention and not take it personal, but also um, be inclined to everything, man. Be punctual. Take everything serious. Like take your opportunities, take your shots, man, and make sure you do everything in your power. You do everything in your power to say that you gave everything, like left it all out there.
Leave no stone unturned. I have a mantra that I want to brainwash my athletes that I train. And it goes like this. I'll do whatever it takes for as long as that takes until I have my jaws wrapped around my dream and bringing that motherfucker home.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do whatever it
Exactly.
takes for as
Exactly.
long as it takes until my teeth are sunk around the neck of my dream and I'm
Yeah.
bringing that thing home. That means I am going to show up early. I am going to take care of my body. I'm going to focus on my nutrition. I am going to say no to the parties. I'm going to stay focused. I'm not worried about women. I am worried solely on my teeth around the neck of my dream. And I get to bring that baby home, right? That
Yep.
is
Exactly.
what we're trying to do at the end of the day is can you limit distractions and can you zone in and stay focused? Because they're going to be there. They're going to be
Mm-hmm.
there. But there's athletes that are willing to do whatever it takes. And it's tunnel vision, brother. And it's not a life for a lot of people. It's not a normal life. It is a life lived in a box of just you and your dream.
Yep, and discipline, man, discipline. And one scripture I live my life on and believe very strongly, you know, uh, is a scripture. It says, "When preparation meets opportunity, favor is manifested." When preparation meets opportunity, favor is manifested. Now, if you don't prepare, when the opportunity comes and you don't seize it, there's no favor.
Yeah.
So you have to have the preparation. Like you have to have the preparation. You can't just expect to fall in your hands and you just execute it and you have put no work in behind that. No, it don't work that way. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they have people who talented, but you're gonna if you talented enough, you get into an arena where everybody's talented. Now what sets you apart?
Yeah.
Gift. I mean just naturally gifted when I say talented.
So that's another thing people need to realize. At the next level, everyone's talented. What's going to separate you? It's from the neck up. 100%. It's from the neck up. It's right here. Are you going to have that victim mentality? What kind of extra work are you going to do when it's not required? How much are you willing to sacrifice? It's
Uh-huh.
right here between your ears. It's what's going to separate you at this point because guess what? Y'all are all fast. Y'all are all strong. Y'all are all big. Y'all are all wanted. The only thing is who's going to sacrifice and do more? Period.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is built and done in high school. That's where we start training that now. So when you get to the next level, you don't get kicked in the face. You start separating day one. You have the mentality of ownership. I'm going to own every minute. I'm going to earn what I get. I'm going to do what you do and extra work, right? Because I built that mentality in high school.
Yeah. And the thing about it, man, it's like I had a thing when I didn't tell you the experience that I had for training to walk on that tech.
Mm.
Like
Tell me about it.
the mental like train that I had to go through was, you know, very eye opening. Like I told you I got sick with this rare disease called achalasia, where your esophagus closes up and food can't get to your stomach. So you eventually start going malnutrition. There's no cure for it. They don't even know where it comes from. It's one out of 100,000 people get it in the US. One out of
Yeah.
100,000. and there's no cure for it. The only way to cure it is by getting a surgery. So I got scars. I had to get my esophagus opened up, and my stomach flipped over top of my esophagus. So all my organs were messed up. Now I had this surgery 2 months before I tried out for tech. So I only had 2 months to prepare. The first month I had to recover.
Yeah.
I couldn't even use my core. I couldn't use my core. I had to use my back
Wow.
muscle to get up. I barely could walk, and the second, as soon as they gave me after 1 month was up, they gave me to go ahead and start working out. Now, mind you, I had to work out a lot to build up my core before I went back out there and tried out for this team, because it's going to be a lot of pull work. It's going to be a lot of movements that I have to do, and my organs have to be good enough to do it. So I have to build up myself. But I just remember days, nights that and mornings, I'll wake up, I'll just go crazy. I'll be doing push-ups, I'll be doing sit-ups, even after workouts. And it'll be at the times that I knew people were asleep, because it was that thing. I know that they're asleep right now. So even if they worked out during the day, I didn't got two, three, I ain't got 100 more push-ups than they would have gotten, you know, throughout that day. And I know they're not up at 4 a.m. Let me do some push-ups right now.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and
Yeah.
go take a run right now. I know they're not up right now, so I gotta up on my competition. I know they probably think I'm asleep right now, so they think they can sleep. Nope, I ain't sleep. Let me get some push-ups here right here. And just that mindset. It's like I wanna get it in while they not getting it in.
Yeah.
And when they sleep, and that's the thing that really pushed me to that next level. So once I came to the tryouts, it's just like I've been working too hard for this. And one quote I heard is by Vince Lombardi. He said, winners don't expect to win because how good they are. They expect to win because of how much work that they put in. So you don't expect to win because you're just good.
Yeah.
I expect to win because I put in a damn lot of work. Like I put in a lot of work for this shit. So
So confidence leads, confidence drives performance. If you're a confident player, it's going to leak into your performance. You're going to perform at a high level. But what builds confidence? People say it's preparation. Preparation breeds confidence. I get that, but people don't understand what preparation means, because if you prepare like everyone else, you're going to get what everyone else gets. It's
mhm.
over preparation
Yeah.
breeds confidence that drives their performance. What's
Mhm.
over preparation? It's when no one else is working. You're working,
Yeah.
regardless of what you're doing. Like the push-ups, like it doesn't even matter that you were doing push-ups. The fact that you were doing the push-ups when no one was doing it built something inside your mind that you
Mhm.
got that confidence, right? And when you
Yeah.
do that, people ask me why I wake up at 3 a.m. Dude, I don't think you understand what it tastes like to know when you're building something when no one else is building. What you get from that, you walk around different, you talk around different, like
Mhm.
you're going to win eventually. You are speaking the language of success. You are attracting winning. Every time you do the work when no one else is doing it, you are attracting
Mhm.
it. You are what's the word when you're trying to get a girl, you're trying to seduce, yeah, you're seducing
Yeah. Yeah.
winning,
Yeah.
bro. And
Yeah.
you do that when no one is watching, right? It wasn't about
Yeah.
the push-ups, it was about the fact that people are asleep. It's
Yeah.
mental.
Yeah, and that's the way I looked at it. I mean, it's small accomplishments to some, but in a bigger spectrum, when you think about it, it's like you getting up on your competition. So you can get the same workout that they got in that day, or you can get, or even by getting one more extra rep than a person that you behind, or stand after practice and getting a couple extra reps. Even if it's one rep, you still
Compound,
have a up on your competition. You,
compound effect.
yes, even if it's just one rep, and that's the thing. It doesn't have to be big, a big push. Like it just could be small, but you gotta up on them.
Dude,
And one thing about a person with talent, they can have talent and not work at it. But a person with talent and a person that works really hard to get, more gifted at their sport, you're gonna eventually pass that person up if you constantly keep working because you're gonna get eventually on their level of mastery.
Yeah.
And one thing I do believe, like you said, it's about, doing it while nobody is looking, but also being intentional. Like being intentional gravitates that what you want to you. Like you're telling the world what you want. You're not kind of like like you're not kind of like confused on what you want. Because when you're confused, the world don't know what to give you. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I want this. I think I'm good enough. I think
Yeah.
that's not you're not being intentional. I know I'm good enough. I'm doing these push-ups because I want to be better than the next person. And I know I gotta do full range so I can get just as strong. Like, and that's the thing about push-ups. When you do push-ups, it doesn't matter if you do one or you do 1,000. You get stronger every time you do a full range push-up. You get stronger.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of thing. I think a lot of metaphorically, like this.
No, that's deep. Being intentional. Bro, like you said, if you're not intentional, life's going to give you whatever it wants to give you. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're intentional, you're specifically targeting something. You're
Mm-hmm.
specifically pulling something towards you when you're intentional
Mm-hmm.
versus you're not, and you're just kind of doing things.
It's like
Well,
I think I want to be the greatest player. It, I think I want. I think that's like sending the person to a fast food place, telling them what you want to eat. I think I might want this, and they bring you back this. I didn't really want this.
yeah,
You weren't intentional about what you didn't tell them exactly what you wanted. You said,
yeah.
I think. How do I know what to get you? Like, you know what I mean? And if I bring you back something that you don't want, you get something that you don't want. You
And you're
can't
gonna
be
be
upset
mad.
because you
And you're gonna
never
be
had.
mad about it.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember one day specifically, I asked my son, what kind of haircut do you want? He was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna tell the barber to give you whatever he wants to give you, and you're gonna be really mad and salty that you don't know that you don't like it. I was like, life doesn't work like that, bro. When you don't know what you want, you're not ever gonna get it. People walk around this
Mhm.
world not knowing exactly what they want. They don't know what kind of lifestyle they want. They don't know what kind of house they want, what kind of relationship they want. They don't know what kind of dog they want. I was like, bro,
Yeah.
you gotta know detailed what kind of life you
Hmm.
want and how much that is going to cost you. Because if you don't know these things, you're going to end up down a path that's not going to be able to afford that. And now you can be
Hmm.
mad that, oh man, I ain't got what I got. Well, you went down this path that didn't equate what you're trying to get. I was like, bro, you got to know what you want. And then you
Right.
re-engineer what is it going to take to actually get there?
Exactly.
Bro, it's being intentional. So let me ask you the $1 million question. If you would go back to high school, Rene, what would you tell Rene
Oh,
to help you
dang.
get you to the next level, right? Like, hey,
Dang, man.
like, bro, Renee,
Uh,
listen,
man, I would tell him so much now. I mean, I'm older now. I'm 30 years old, and I've been through so much in this arena of sports. And you know, one thing I would tell myself is to be patient and be disciplined. Be patient, be disciplined, um, and uh, tell myself to take your shot. Take your shot. Because I went to a D2 program, because it had a full ride. But I knew what my intentions were. My intentions were to get to the NFL, and I felt that I was better than where I was. I felt that I could compete at a higher level than that, but that's all that was given to me. So that's all I'm gonna take. Um, but once I got to a point where I realized it was a business and they only out for their best interest, and I have to look out for my best interest is when I made the move. But if I would have made that move from jump and just walked onto the team, I could have had the whole season of what I actually wanted. But I took what was given to me because I thought that was the safest route.
safety.
And I could have, if I would have believed in myself to go and walk onto a team, and actually compete, which was the smartest idea because if I really believed in myself and I wanted to compete at a higher level, I might as well go and attempt that level. And if I failed, then I understand that I'm just not capable enough to be there. Like I'm not worthy enough to be there, and that's okay. They're better than me, and I'm just not there. You
Yeah.
know, and but I didn't. I took the safest route. And got what and took what was given to me. And not believed in myself. When I was a number 2 kid coming out of high school, like it's like I should have believed in myself more and took that chance and took that risk, and just been intentional about where I was trying to go. So yeah, being patient and um, being patient and what was my second one I said? Being patient
Discipline.
and discipline and taking chances. And discipline, when I would speak more on discipline, is, you know, uh putting in that work, putting in the work, like on the side, like making sure I'm getting some footwork drills, making sure I'm just working out, and getting that up on the competition. And if I really want this, I have to prepare for it, and I have to be locked in and not trying to do all of the things, like have so much fun, like putting fun over priorities of where
Yeah.
I'm trying to go.
It's hard at the high school level. We're speaking about high school because, at the end of the day, they have way more distractions they do now than versus what y'all had and we had, right? They
Mhm.
got video games, social media, everything is quick, everything's instant. Us, we didn't have all that or as much of it. So all
Mhm.
we had was time to work. Now, I'd tell parents, like it sounds weird because their kids are probably not separating or are the best. Right now in the high school arena, it's the easiest it's ever been to separate. You just got to do a little bit because
Yeah,
nobody is doing anything. They're doing the required work. And the
yeah,
talented kids, they're definitely not doing anything extra because 95% of these guys aren't going to play at the next level. So this is the lowest level you're ever going to play. You're playing versus competition who spend more time playing video games than they do practice. And you're
hmm,
bragging about how good you are. You need to
yeah,
stop it. You're playing versus kids and your talent is so good that you don't want to put no extra work because dude, you're surrounded by average. You're surrounded by kids who aren't even going to play at the next level.
yeah,
So if we can unwire those kids and help those kids out too, like, listen, yeah, you're talented, you're good, but guess what? When you get to the next level, you're going to get punched in the face, bro.
yeah, yeah. And it's a different monster when you get to the next level, man. And you got different components. It's not just you going to college and you got to make the grades. You got to deal with, the freedom. Freedom can be a distraction sometimes.
Pressure, bro.
Like, yeah, the pressure of whether I want to do this or that. It's like, and this
That's
sounds more
self-discipline.
appealing.
That's self-discipline.
Yeah.
And that's why I started this program. It's right here, Elite Mind Athlete. I'm going to give you the intentional plan to learn how to separate. Okay.
Mhm.
That means do the extra work at this time. Now, your parents aren't involved. That means you have to start learning at this time of the day, are you going to do what you said you were going to do? That's the
Mhm.
self-discipline that I start building in high school because anybody could do what coach tells you to do. I work hard, I go to early morning practice. No, fool, it's required for you to go early morning practice. It don't take no self-discipline. Your mommy and dad are going to drive you to early morning practice. You're going to make early morning practice. The key is, can you wake up early for yourself when it's not required?
Mhm.
Because that's what's going to happen at the next level. Mommy and daddy aren't going to be there. Coach isn't going to tell you and wake you up to be there. It is on you. Are you going to do the extra work? And so that's where the self-discipline comes into my program is we start building the self-discipline now of challenging the mind when that time comes. Am I going to say what I'm going to do or am I going to end up playing video games longer?
Yeah.
If you can build that now at the next level, you're going to have that structure internally. Because right now you have that structure externally, right? You
Mhm.
had the structure externally. And then when you went to the next level, that was kind of structured externally. But what happens when you were just a walk on? You had to build internal
Mhm.
structure that you did not have. You didn't have repetition there. You got unfocused. You were a minute late and everything was stripped from you because of self-discipline. You didn't have that internal built inside of you. And I think that's the biggest thing parents need to recognize now is, yeah, Johnny's good because you force him to be good.
Mm-hmm.
What does Johnny do by himself? Because at the next level, that's where it counts.
Mm-hmm. And also, how does he interact with others? Like
Oh, bro,
that's
tell me about it.
that's a big thing. Like too, that those college coaches ask your teachers, they ask your coaches, they ask people that you wouldn't even think that they'd be asking, like
How's Rene to you?
about you. Yeah,
How does Rene treat you?
ask one of your friends. They'll ask one of your friends just to get that understanding of your character. That's the thing. The way you interact with people is a big thing because they don't. That's how jobs are. Why you think they ask for references? Like
Ah,
they want to know who you are behind the scenes. They want to know if people would agree with what you're saying, who you are.
you look good on
So
paper, but how you truly act and treat others is what kind of matters because
yeah.
you could be cancerous,
Hmm. And you could
bad
be good for
character.
yourself, but bad for others. Like
Yeah.
and that goes into building a team culture, a team environment, and you don't want no cancers on your team because that lowers the morale and that lowers the belief of the positive that can happen.
Yeah,
The potential positive that could happen in the team. So
man. Well, I want to wrap this up, Rene, man. First of all, I just want to appreciate you and telling your story. I think the whole preference around this podcast today was about character, man, and how small decisions could make a big impact. Not just negative, but small decisions on the day-to-day process can make a big impact if they're good habits, right?
mhm,
And so vice versa. At the end of the day, your life is made up of small daily decisions and actions that are going to create your future, whether they be positive, whether they be negative. That's going to make the difference on who you're going to become as a person.
yeah, most definitely, I agree,
All
100%.
right. One nugget if you can give to coaches, parents, or athletes, what would it be, brother?
Um, uh, I would say, man, just make sure your kids are good people too. Like, um, I know it seemed to seem like the character, like I know it seemed like it doesn't pertain to sports arena or
It
anything like
does.
that. But having character and just doing things when no one is looking is so important. And you can do things to like appeal to others and say, "Oh, he's a good person," but in reality, you really want your human to be a good person because it's going to tie over into sports, it's going to tie over into life in general. And sports teach you teach your kids, putting them in sports, teaching them more about life than anything. It taught me more about life than anything. Like in
Yeah.
general, it taught me discipline. It taught me to not give up. It taught me to fight against the negative, no, I mean the negative um, talking in my head, telling me to stop. It showed me that I can push past, you know, me feeling like I'm not gonna make it. Like it's that kind of discipline and being able to fight and not give up, you know. It's that kind of discipline that you learn. And then you also learn the discipline of respect, respecting your elders. Because if you don't talk to that coach the right way, you ain't gonna play. You
Yeah.
can get frustrated as you want, but as soon as you get the man, fuck you, I don't do none of this shit. I don't need none of this shit.
Yeah.
They don't need you. They don't want that on their team anyway.
Yeah.
So make sure you are handling your emotions, for one, as an athlete, and not just exploding, and make sure when you're expecting something, make sure you also have the weight of your work that you put into along with you. You know, I'm not just asking to just start. I'm putting a lot of damn work,
Yeah.
and you've seen this. Like, and that's something that coaches appreciate too. Like, keep putting in that work. Like, show them that you put in that work. Be intentional. So
So anybody
I
out there
know,
listening, Yeah, anybody out there listening, coaches, parents, athletes, listen, it's mental conditioning that ultimately going to lead you to the next level, right? Because your emotions going to get high. And if you don't have control over your emotions, which is mental performance, if you aren't reading the right books, if you aren't having the right mentors, if you aren't having the right environment to help you dial that down, learn how to reset, have that mental agility, have that next play mentality, and have a process to actually put you in that state of environment where you aren't acting out of emotion, where you have the instead of why me, why not me, right? This is for me. I'm in this position because I need to be in this position versus they don't like it's not you against the world, right? And so having mental conditionings is mental performance is needed in high school so that when they get to the next level, they're going to be battling themselves. It's going to be doubt. It's going to be you versus the world. And that is the wrong mindset to go into. And so learning how to control your mind is ultimately going to put you in a better position to be able to stay focused, get with the job that needs to get done, and have you on a mission because your mind is going to get you unfocused. It's designed to get you unfocused. It is you have 80,000 thoughts a day that are negative. Your mind is built to get you unfocused. And so it is this mental performance and conditioning of the daily, what are we learning mentally to help you put you in a frame to be more positive, to have that ownership mentality, and to really push in that grit where no one's working. That's where we work. That takes mental toughness. A
Yep.
little voice is going to give you 1,000 excuses why you shouldn't wake up at 4 a.m. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to give you 1,000. And if you don't have the mental toughness and the grit and the resilience to overcome that voice, you're not going to get better. End of story. So
So,
Rene, I appreciate you having here or jumping on this podcast with me, trying to help the next generation become more resilient, more dominant. And you have a great story, man. And we got to get that story out to more people. That character is ultimately is going to lead you to success. Being a great person is a part of winning, not just having talent. So I
yeah,
appreciate you,
most
man. Thank you
definitely.
for being
Most
here.
definitely, man. It's always a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you for just, having a platform, to inspire, motivate, and encourage the youth nowadays because they definitely need it, man. And that's one thing that's been my focal point, like, and aim. Even when I wanted to, my ambitions to make it to the league was only to inspire and motivate and encourage the next generation that they can do it through all of the hardships that I've gone through thus far. So, and I get to do that anyway. So, it's not only one way that you could do it, and that's what I learned. And that's something I appreciate you for having this platform to give that, another way to give that.
Absolutely, brother. I thank you, man. Till next time. Peace.